and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I'm Agam Makil. Well, we've seen the benchmark indices advance in today's day of trade, and Nifty moving back above the mark of 11,000. What's really leading the indices today is Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv. Substantial strength seen in both these counters. In fact, Bajaj Finance now well above the mark of 2,700 rupees a share. With some gains coming in Sun Pharma as well, followed by Tech Mahindra and Cipla. And on the losing end, Bajaj Auto, poor set of numbers coming in below street expectations. That's the reason why it's taking a knock of nearly 9%. HPCL along with Indian Oil Corp and BPCL also looking at some profit taking, followed by ONGC. Broader markets, once again, very mixed trends coming through. When it comes to the NSE 500, it's largely one gainer for one loser. However, in the broader markets, it's more inclined towards those which are, well, falling. In the gainers, we do have PC Jeweler, Adani Power and Sterlite Technologies, followed by something like an IFB Industries. All these stocks are gaining well over 8.5–9%. We have gains in CET2 as well as Infibeam Corp. On the losing end, 8K Miles taking another U-turn, now down 10%. Tech Solutions, substantial weakness coming in there as well. Shrey Infra and Indian Bank along with Bajaj Hindustan also showing some weakness. The cues, well, I would say remain confusing for some who want to actually look for ideas in the broader markets. But for a perspective at this point in time, let's get in Neeraj Shah to give us an idea about how he's reading cues in the current market.
Well, it's Good Friday, Agam, and maybe the market finally realizing that the no confidence motion will not result in any impact on the markets per se. So the global markets were flat when we ended shut shop, but we did reasonably okay for ourselves. But hey, now all through this week we were talking about how stocks are getting punished because of bad news. We saw some real examples of stocks getting rewarded big time because of good results as well, and these are expensive names. Right. Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, Sterlite Technologies, all of these expensive names, varying market caps, right, from 15,000 to 1 lakh to 1,50,000 crores. But hey, all of them getting rewarded and rewarded big time. So that was good news. For the week, the interesting bit was though that the theme continued. Companies getting punished. So the move of allowing people to take food into the theaters came out on Friday. Inox Leisure has lost another 17% in this week. So that still continues, and therefore I guess becomes a very, very interesting market. I think we now look forward to a bunch of specific names. What happens to some of the insurance companies because of what Bajaj Finserv has done? What happens to Hero Moto because of what Bajaj Auto has done? So I think it will become a really, really nice stock specific next 15 odd days, and on the large cap front more so as opposed to the mid cap. So looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Neeraj.
Thanks, Agam.
Well, that said, our technical analysts, let's see whether they have changed their stance when it comes to the indices. This is what they're saying. Listen.
10,900 is the most important lower support levels, and I sense we are going to hold these levels going forward, and eventually we will be breaking on the upside because the trend is intact. And when we are looking at the overall oscillators, they're still in the buy mode. Definitely I sense more participation coming all across, and there are some early signals of PSUs bottoming out and the pharma bottoming out. So once we see the breakout on the upside, you will see the active participation coming. So on the immediate basis, we have a target of 11,200 for the Nifty, but eventually I think 11,600 is also quite possible looking at the chart formations.
Broadly, I would say that I just want to stay out for some time and just wait it out into this range of say 10,900 to 11,100 or thereabouts, or probably also the all-time high at around 11,170 odd. So I think this would be a range. It is not doing much. The trades are more stock specific. Index, I'm not very comfortable now into this breakout, so I don't see it as a breakout. So I'm not. So till now, Nifty does not register an all-time new high. It would be difficult to venture out and put some trades on the Nifty on the buy side. Now, were we to fail below 10,900, then probably this breakout would be a false one, and then you can look at lower levels.
Right, then it's needless to say that it was the Bajaj brothers who actually dominated today's market action. One on the gaining end, the other on the losing end. I'm going to start with Bajaj Auto, which had a very disappointing day of trade on the back of poor earnings. And while the earnings weren't really poor, they actually did misread expectations. So I'm going to get in Yash Upadhyay to tell us a little more about how the earnings have been and perhaps the reason why we've seen that fall.
Right, so Bajaj Auto ended up with cuts of more than 8.5%, and that goes down to their numbers. And while optically they look good on a year-on-year basis, but they have missed the street expectations. So the revenues, they have grown by about 36% to 7,400 crores. We were working with a number of about 7,800 crores. And the margins, they have seen a significant cut. They've come in at about 17.3%, which is, I think, the lowest that they've done in the longest period of time, because they always manage a 20% plus kind of margins. Now, this is down to the high input costs, and the raw material cost as a percentage of net sales, that has gone up significantly to 65% now from 58.5% in the same quarter last year. Also, the lower other income, that has restricted the bottom line growth to just a 21% to about 1,115 crore rupees versus a 924 crore number. Also lower than our estimate of about 1,250 crores. The only two positives would be the increase, the volume growth. So the domestic business, that reported a strong 38% volume growth, which is the only number which came in line with our estimates. And the international business, that is doing exceptionally well. So they reported the highest ever quarterly exports of about 538,000 units. Now both the matured and the new markets, they are doing very well. So Nigeria and Egypt, both they have in both the areas, they have seen they have doubled their volumes, and also Cambodia, Iraq and Ghana, they have all done collectively very well.
Thanks, Kash, for bringing in those details, and we'll watch out for Hero MotoCorp, as Neeraj earlier alluded to, and see whether or not that comes through when it comes to its earnings. But as I was suggesting, the other pack which was actually doing well in today's day of trade was Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv. Bajaj Finance, in fact, has had a stellar run, not only today, but throughout the I would say since the last time it came out its results for the previous quarter. And since then, from the levels around 1800, there's been no looking back for Bajaj Finance. It has now moved above the mark of 2,700 rupees per share. We have Saloni Dhanuka, who's joining us to give us an idea about and talk to us specifically about what's behind the move today, Saloni.
So unlike Bajaj Auto, Bajaj Group's financial firms have actually taken a good lead today in the market. As we can see, they are the top two Nifty performers straight here. So Bajaj Finance gained about 8% today, while Bajaj Finserv gained about 6%. Now, even if you see the year-to-date performance, there has been a steady rally for both the stocks. As you can see, Bajaj Finance has gone up almost 50% on a year-to-date basis, while Finserv, the parent entity, on the other hand, has risen more than 25%. So in stock performance terms, it is doing well. Well, speaking of the few headline numbers here, consolidated revenue for Bajaj Finserv rose as much as 16%, while the bottom line grew by 41% respectively for the quarter went by. Now, their lending business, which is Bajaj Finance, they have seen a 35% growth in their lending AUM. Also, talking about asset quality, it has improved sequentially by 10 basis points. That apart, their general insurance business continues to do well, and we have seen a gross premium growth of nearly 23% on a YOY basis, largely driven by improvement in their combined ratios, lower claims that they have seen in their health and motor insurance segment. Well, on the contrary, their life insurance business continues to see a decline in their profitability despite improving persistency ratios. And even Nomura has come up with a note on Bajaj Finserv particularly, wherein they expect this company to be a long-term compounder, but given high valuations for their finance firm, may lead to some near-term consolidation for Bajaj Finserv particularly.
All right, Saloni, thank you so much for joining us and giving us those details. Can we expect this trend to continue on Monday? Let's wait and watch. But for now, it's a wrap on this show as well as the markets. Have a good weekend. Lots more lined up, so stay tuned in the Bloomberg Quint.